All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Dr. Cosette M. White, America's #1 tax and accounting strategist. As you know, I help tax professionals grow highly profitable firms using social media as a tool to go out and get those organic clients. Today, in our CEO Money Matters, specifically for our tax pros, we are talking to tax resolution specialist LaShonda Hudson out of Georgia. And we're just going to have a brief conversation, you all. We're going to be talking about what does it look like to have that tax resolution or tax representation when you get in trouble with the Internal Revenue Service or any other state agency for that matter. It doesn't have to be the IRS, you all. You know, folks have problems with the states as well as the IRS, but when we think about tax resolution, the first thing that comes to mind is, oops, I'm in trouble with the IRS. So we're going to have a candid conversation, an open conversation, because I want you guys to know who she is. And if you're in trouble with the Internal Revenue Service, how can tax professionals assist you? And in this case, we're going to learn something that I just learned as we were going through our intro, and I'm going to let her share. But why don't you go ahead and tell everybody who you are, what you do, and just give them a background about you, okay?
Awesome. My name is LaShonda Hudson. I have been in tax resolution now for almost 16 years. I started out working with different companies while I was going to school for my master's degree. And so it kind of really started off early. I actually started when I was working with my associate's degree. I worked for a company about 3 or 4 years. Once I finished, college, I got back into, my field of work, which was community action agency, which I worked at almost 9 years, helping the community with different things. LIHEAP programs and different things like that. But I kind of wanted to get into my own business, and I always was very, very good at tax resolution. I was very like one of their top, they call it a star player at their place. And so once it kind of got to a place where I wanted to kind of be on my own and what should I do? Once I had the business degree, I didn't want to still be an employee with, all the education that I had gained and everything like that. And so that's how I got into tax resolution. I started pulling into it, and the market was very welcoming. It was very, very welcoming. And I tell so many people that when I'm teaching them and when I'm talking to different crowds or just other tax professionals or different people that are not into taxes, because I was telling Miss Dr. Cosette earlier that I don't even do taxes. I'm very knowledgeable of taxes. I know all the laws. I keep up with what's going on because it's very good to know when you're dealing with resolution. But I don't do the taxes. So I always speak to people and tell them that, when you get into tax resolution, your market is so great because there's not a lot of competition. You can look in your area and you can guarantee to find at least at minimum 100 people in your area that prepare taxes. But if you also look in your same area, you look for a tax resolution specialist, you may find one, sometimes none. And so the market is just so welcoming. And there's so many people out there that really, really, really need the help. The IRS is very aggressive. I call them bullies sometimes. They're very aggressive at going at some of these clients, and they don't know where to turn, what to do. How do I combat these kind of things? And so that's why I kind of got into that. So it kind of, flowed along with the field of the community action agency. It was still, helping my community and helping others. So I really, really love tax resolution.
So I love that. So this is a great segue. So let's talk about what are the different types of individuals that can represent. We know that there's the CPA, we know there's the accountant, the enrolled agent, and then we have our tax professional. And so let's talk about that, because as I was listening to you, I heard you say that, I'm gonna say you grew up in the industry, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so that's how you became a specialist and started to specialize in this industry called tax resolution. So is there a myth, or is it factual information that you have to have certain letters behind your name or criteria, degrees, whatnot, to represent individuals before the Internal Revenue Service?
Yes, they want to really chop my neck off of this. And I have really been chopped before. If some of you have seen me on social media before, you have seen me attacked gravely because I put people on alert about this. And the way that I really found out that you don't have to be an EA or have these certifications behind you in order to do tax resolution, because when I was working for those firms, the EA was only the person that called the client for money. They were only like the money collectors. It was the person that, like myself, who they call the para or the 8821 or the representation of the tax authorization person. We were the one that, stayed in contact with the Internal Revenue Service, contacting the client, pulling the documentations, filling out all the necessary applications. We did all of the lead work. The Internal Revenue Service is not in the business of telling you who can help you with the debt. And one of those reasons is because what they're trying to do, if they most of the time, if you have a client that comes to you, the Internal Revenue Service has been trying to get some response out of that client. Okay, so and they failed at it. So that's why some of these clients get in some really nasty situations. It's because the IRS has tried to get in contact with them, but they failed to be able to kind of get some type of resolution out of them. What we do is 8821s and myself, we're actually bringing those clients to the IRS and getting them compliant. So the IRS, I don't think it's ever going to be a time where they're going to say that you have to be an enrolled agent or CPA or a tax attorney in order to do this work. Most firms, if you look at the larger firms, they're set up in a way where the enrolled agent is the one that's not doing the actual work. So again, you do not have to have that. Another thing that I do teach in class, in my classes, because I do teach classes on tax resolution, and I love teaching. I love teaching because I want to bring awareness to everybody, because it's like, why you closing yourself off to the tax preparation market, killing yourself over those couple of months to try to make enough money to sustain yourself for the rest of the year, when tax resolution really brings you, higher end clients, higher paying clients, and so forth and so on. So when I'm doing that, I'm teaching these classes, I show them under 2848, which they say that you have to be an EA, CPA, or a tax attorney in order to sign it. I actually show them on there where it says that you can be a relative and sign a 2848, so you do not have to have any type of certification behind you. What I do say is that you want to definitely have knowledge. You want to give your clients a very good service, because if you don't have the knowledge, then what you're going to wind up doing, it may not be intentionally, you'll victimize that client. You'll take money from them, and you're actually not really able to save them any money or make a difference in what, doing something that they could have did themselves. And so I think that they're already victims of the Internal Revenue Service and other taxation departments, that you want to actually get in there and, like you say, be an aspirin to them. You want to be someone that's relieving them from that, taking on that pressure, and so that they can sleep at night. And so you do not. I advocate for education again. I have a master's degree in college. I advocate heavily for education. So gaining more knowledge is always great, but you do not have to be an EA to do it. 50%, I would probably say 65% of my students are enrolled agents. They take the EA exam, they practice the book at home, they take the test, and then they become my student, because the EA exam is only covering personal taxes, business taxes. Section 1 is personal, Section 2 is business, and then Section 3, they give you a few definitions. It's probably only 7 pages that covers resolution. But, the people will put it out there as if, you must be an EA to do this, or you're doing something fraudulently if you're not. And it's just not true, because even, 90% of EAs that I've ran into still don't really know resolution, but they have the authority to represent, but they're not given the knowledge. So the EA, or the letters behind the name, will give you the authority, but it's not giving them the knowledge. And so I think that's where things, kind of become a little, unethical to me, because, they're charging these clients and they're telling them that they can do something that they really don't have knowledge to do. And if you can't save that client money, don't take that case, and that's how I feel. I don't take a case where I can't save money.
Exactly. And so just so that I could piggyback on everything that she just said to you all that are listening and watching this, of course, I am not an enrolled agent as well. And I recently won a case where the outstanding tax liability was in excess of $800,000. Now, I did have some pushback from the Internal Revenue Service, and particularly the agent that I was working with on behalf of my client. But